Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Toki. I'm back with another Stop That Mon video, as this is our VGC 17 counter building series for popular Pokemon in the VGC 17 format. Thank you for tuning in into today's video. If you do end up enjoying, please do subscribe or maybe even like the video, whichever you feel is necessary, as that really would mean the world to me. And either way, thank you for watching today's video. So what exactly we do in this series is we do provide counter builds for popular Pokemon in the VGC 17 format. You should know by what's on your screen and by the thumbnail of this video exactly what we will be counter building against, but I still will give this Pokemon a little introduction after I give myself a little introduction, as I think it's best that you guys get a better idea of who I am, so you know why you should maybe consider my opinions as something that might not be too bad. So thank you for tuning in. My name is Token. I have been playing VGC since the VGC 15 format. There isn't a face cam today because I didn't think it was really necessary for the series, but if you guys want the face cam back, please do comment below and just let me know that you would rather me have face cam in these videos. If not, then I'll continue to do it this way. But yes, back to me though. I've been playing VGC since the early VGC 15 format, and I attended one in real life regionals since then, and it was in Phoenix. And the only reason I haven't attended more is due to my very bad proximity to any of the regionals that they host. It's just really hard for me to get out and to get over all the way to one of the regionals. They're just not really in my region at all. So it's pretty unfortunate, but that's where we live in. I have been very passionate and put a lot of effort though in my time. I've been playing VGC. I've put a lot of effort in towards VGC, so I do think that I'm at least halfway decent. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this video, and hopefully it does help spread a little bit more knowledge on how to stop another popular Pokemon in the VGC 17 format, as we do have some other videos also where we counter build some Pokemon, so definitely check those out too if you guys want a little bit more info on how to stop some other popular Pokemon in the format. Today though, so one of the huge things as we were getting information released to us on what exactly would be allowed in the VGC 17 format, it was pretty much hypothesized or pretty much known that the Tapus, once they were released, they would be able to be used in VGC. VGC has really never really just banned Pokemon much at all. It really does not. It really hasn't been about banning any Pokemon. It's about having all the Pokemon to your disposal and trying to deal with them as best as you can, even if something seems overpowered or its stats seem a little too good. People did think that the Tapus a little bit less than the Ultra Beast, but they also did think the Tapus had really really impressive offensive stat distributions, and that they would be probably really hard to stop and to deal with in the VGC 17 format. As we got into the meta and things started to progress, people realized that they're not as overpowering or nearly as overpowering as people envisioned. Same goes with the Ultra Beast, even though they both are extremely good. So we did get Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, Tapu Lele, and Tapu Bulu to our disposal, and all of those Tapus have had their highs and lows where they were really high in usage. I think Lele was once #1 in usage, and I think Fini was also #1 in usage as the point, but both of them have fallen from their reign of being that high. And Bulu was once much more prevalent in the meta, but it has fallen due to things like Alolan Muck and Arcanine. Just a lot of grass is a very poor defensive typing. If you're a grass type, you want to be fast in the VGC 17 meta, or just in general, kind of, in my opinion. But yes, so most of the other Tapus have had their ups and downs, but Tapu Koko throughout the entirety of the VGC 17 meta has stayed in the top 5, has managed to stay as one of the most high usage Pokemon in the VGC 17 format due to its typing, its speed, and its ability to set up Electric Surge, which is a terrain just like all the other terrains that Tapus have to their disposal, that allows your grounded Pokemon to not be able to be put asleep, and it also provides you with an electric terrain that boosts the power of electric type moves. So it's extremely strong, and it's really nice when you need it for the niche of not being able to put your Pokemon to sleep. And then a Pokemon like Alolan Raichu does benefit by having its speed doubled when it's in Electric Surge. So lots of interesting things you can do with Electric Surge, mainly boosting Tapu Koko's Thunderbolt or whatever electric stab attack you're going for, as its special attack is only going to be 95. So it makes sense when you don't go for those electric type moves, while it's a decent amount less as powerful, but still a very powerful Pokemon with a very powerful offensive typing, and just such an extremely fast speed at that 130 speed stat. That is just so fast, and it's the fastest Pokemon in the VGC 17 meta, barring Scarfs, which is why Koko is so good, because you usually know you're going to hit first unless your opponent has a Scarf Pokemon. And a lot of the Scarf Pokemon in the VGC 17 format, they become really quickly obvious that they're Scarfs, such as like Vanillix and Scarf Kartana getting a little bit of usage. So things like that are usually easily able to be just figured out. So you just kind of have to play around them a little bit. So we'll quickly go over some Tapu Koko sets that are pretty popular or were popular, and then we'll go over my top 6 Pokemon that I think are quality counters / checks to Tapu Koko. So let's just dive right into it. And first things first, we have the very popular standard Life Orbed Tapu Koko. Hidden Power Fire, that's only probably obviously the one little thing that kind of sticks out. But Hidden Power Fire is more of a recent popular thing, as at the beginning of the meta, Kartana was a Pokemon that wasn't really used on almost, well, it was used on some teams, but not used on many teams due to people thinking that it was really, it wasn't going to be able to defend itself at all, even though it has a really strong typing and a really solid defense stat. A lot of people thought Kartana was going to be too frail to be able to be usable in the VGC 17 format. But now that everyone realizes how strong of a Pokemon it is, Hidden Power Fire is a the third slot on Tapu Koko has always been more of a filler slot, kind of use what best fits for your team. But Hidden Power Fire is something that has becoming more and more usable, or just like just becoming more and more common on Tapu Kokos. That's the word I was looking for. A lot more common on Tapu Kokos to deal with Kartana. And obviously Thunderbolt and Dazzling Gleam for 2 stab options, and then just Protect, obviously, to be able to protect when necessary, and just 252 in special attack, 4 in special defense, and 252 in speed with a timid nature. That will make you the fastest Pokemon in the meta, barring Scars. So Tapu Koko, just a very standard Life Orb Tapu Koko set. This is what most people are running on their Life Orb. This is a filler slot. Might not be Hidden Power Fire, might be Volt Switch, might be Discharge if you got a ground type that you can discharge into. There's a bunch of different options, but Hidden Power Fire is kind of the main one for some Life Orb Tapu Kokos right now. Moving right along though, we get to a much more different or less standard Tapu Koko set, much more uncanny, in a Assault Vest Tapu Koko set. I think this Tapu Koko was used to pretty good success, and this I think at Athens Regionals, and this Tapu Koko is going to be much different than your standard one, as it is using a physical moveset of Wild Charge, Sky Drop, so that you can pick up a Pokemon that might be setting up Trick Room, or is just a huge threat to the other Pokemon you have on the field, but the other Pokemon you have on the field is threatening your opponent's other Pokemon. You can kind of catch them off guard with Sky Drop, pick them up, and not allow them to attack into that Pokemon for a turn. Then you also have Nature's Madness, which is just a half the attack of maybe things you can't really damage as much, like maybe a Alolan Marowak or stuff like that, or Tapu Bulu. You just want to get some really solid damage off. You could go for Nature's Madness, and you will always half their attack as long as it hits, and then you turn just to switch out of poor matchups. So a much more interesting Tapu Koko. I do not know the exact any benchmarks or anything that this EV spread hits. I just know this is what was used. And on the successful team that did run this Tapu Koko at Athens Regionals, so it does have that 236 in HP, that 4 in attack, 4 in defense, 164 in special defense, and then 100 in speed with a jolly nature. So another just a different way of running Tapu Koko from the standard way, just maybe for surprise factor, to catch your opponent off guard a little bit more, and definitely a more for a Pacific team Tapu Koko, as you're usually not going to be using Sky Drop unless you think something really benefits from it on your team. So definitely a more Team Pacific Tapu Koko. Moving right along, now we get into a Tapu Koko that I started to like a lot before Scarf Garchomp became a thing, in Farium Z Tapu Koko. This Farium Z Tapu Koko is one that Paul Chua used to good success, and what is special about this Farium Z Tapu Koko is usually Tapu Koko is unable to OHKO Garchomp. It's usually Sash Garchomp is something that a lot of people haven't been using as of late, even as of really recently, but Garchomp was usually Assault Vest, so it took the Dazzling Gleam pretty well, or it was just a regular Garchomp without a Sash, so that it also still would not be OHKO'd by Dazzling Gleam. As we saw, Tapu Koko only has a 95 special attack stat, so it really isn't the best. And then also, then Garchomp could also be, what is that last thing? Oh, Groundium Z, and you also won't take out that Garchomp. And obviously Garchomp can easily take out Koko with an Earthquake or a Groundium Z or any type of ground type move back. So Farium Z was an option that was used so that you can actually OHKO Garchomp before it was able to attack you, as long as it wasn't Sash, as long as it wasn't Scarf and outsped you. So this is pretty much another, it's pretty standard obviously on the EV spread, but it's just mainly the fact that it has Taunt and then it has the Farium Z, so that you can hit the Garchomp with your Farium Z boosted Z move before your opponent is able to attack you. So that's pretty much what this Tapu Koko does. Hits them with a very hard hitting Twinkle Tackle before Garchomp is able to attack, and does massive damage, and usually OHKOs as long as it's not Sash. So that's that one, and moving on to the last Tapu Koko that we have here is going to be the standard Sash Tapu Koko with the Timid Nature, which is just also Thunderbolt, Dazzling Gleam. Obviously this is just filler. I don't think it's usually Taunt on the Sash one, but just an option, just so you know you live a hit. So maybe you'll want to taunt a Porygon 2 or something, and you feel more comfortable going for Taunt, as Tapu Koko is usually not a Pokemon you want taking hits, but you feel a little better about the hit when you do have the Sash on your Tapu Koko. So just another a different option, but yeah, just a pretty standard Sash Koko. So now we'll get right into those Pokemon that counter Tapu Koko, and we'll start with the first and foremost. That is going to be a Pokemon that I have mentioned a few times, and that is Scarf Garchomp. And the reason Scarf Garchomp is so good at taking out Tapu Koko is because at first, now it's pretty obvious. Anyone who's been sticking with the VGC 17 meta for a decent amount does know how many people are using that Scarf Garchomp now, and I just showed the usage stats a little bit earlier in this video, and Garchomp was #1, so everyone's realizing how good Scarf Garchomp is. But yes, a huge thing that makes the Scarf Garchomp so good is the fact that it does outspeed, and it now outspeeds Tapu Koko and Nihilego, two Pokemon that usually outsped Garchomp and really threatened it, as especially if Tapu Koko was Sash, it can go for the Dazzling Gleam, you Earthquake, you don't kill Koko, and then Koko can go for another Dazzling Gleam and take out your Garchomp. And then Nihilego has Hidden Power Ice to its disposal, which would allow it to also take out Garchomp. So there was a few Pokemon that threatened Garchomp that were faster than it and threatened OHKOs on it. So Scarf allows Garchomp to outspeed those Pokemon, namely Tapu Koko, and take them out before it can be taken out. It was more of a surprise thing for a little while, but now it's everywhere, and it's definitely hurting Tapu Koko's usage, but still Tapu Koko is too strong for that to really make it fall in usage stats. So it'll still be around, but Scarf Garchomp is easily my #1 answer for dealing with Koko. It's just you're faster and you get the EQ off. It's really nice, and you will take out Koko as long as an Auroraville or something hasn't been set up. So not bad at all. Then we have Alolan Marowak, and this is a Pokemon that definitely has fallen in usage throughout the one second, and at the end of Garchomp, just the fact that 220 with a Scarf, that's pretty much and the rest of the EV's thrown in HP, that's pretty much the only namely thing about the spread. And then you're able to run Adamant and still outspeed what you need to outspeed, because of the fact that you do have that Scarf, and Garchomp is a pretty speedy Pokemon just in general, so really nice. Then we have Alolan Marowak, which is a Pokemon that definitely fell in usage stats. Things like Double Duck became extremely popular, which Alolan Marowak absolutely hated. Araquanid became popular, another Pokemon Alolan Marowak doesn't really prefer dealing with, and Intimidate was really popular. A lot of teams were running double Intimidate, another thing that hurts Alolan Marowak, especially because it's usually slower, so it usually isn't able to attack before the things. So and then Finny became popular, another Pokemon Alolan Marowak doesn't really like. So there's a lot of reasons as to why Alolan Marowak fell in usage, but it has managed to stay, I think, in at least the top 30. So that's at least good. And Alolan Marowak does still provide one of the most solid answers in the game to Tapu Koko because of its ability in Lightning Rod. That's going to allow it to suck up any electric type attacks that are targeted on your side of the field. Other than Discharge, that's still going to hit the other Pokemon on the field because of the fact that it hits both targets. But as long as the Tapu Koko doesn't have Discharge, it won't even be able to go for any of its electric stab type moves. Not Volt Switch, not Thunderbolt, none of it. Alolan Marowak will suck that up and it will be a wasted turn. And then with the Thick Club, that allows you to have a pretty, yes, because a holder is a cube on a Marowak, its attack is doubled, so that allows you to be really powerful, and that makes your Bonemerang, which hits twice. This was really nice for when Sash Koko was a huge thing. You would hit it once, break the sash, and then hit it again, and Oko Tapu Koko. So this was a really nice option early in the meta when Sash Koko was pretty prevalent in the meta. But it still is a really nice answer to Koko. Lightning Rod is still such a fantastic ability. If you have a very weak electric team that doesn't really have any options for switch-ins, or just overall you just want to have an immunity to electric that just can really help your team play around Tapu Koko better, Alolan Marowak stat. This is a pretty standard Alolan Marowak stat. I know it seems really different, but this is a pretty standard one. I've seen a lot of people use this. Decent amount of speed. I think it may be to just make sure that you outspeed Alolan Muck. I'm not 100% sure, but just pretty much trying to be bulky while still going adamant with 100 EVs in attack, so that you're able to still dish out a lot of damage and get the Okos that you need. So I still like Alolan Marowak as one of the top answers to Tapu Koko. Next is a Pokemon that I am very familiar with, as during my VGC Climbing a Ladder series, which is a battle spot series that I also have on this channel, I was able to build the Dallas Regionals winning team that Nowak, VGC, or Drew, he was able to win the Dallas Regionals using a team that did feature this exact Mudsdale set, which is really cool. And I was able to have them come build the team on my channel and kind of explain everything thoroughly about the team. And Mudsdale was a Pokemon I was really interested in seeing exactly how they used it, and I also wanted to use it myself, as I hadn't up until that point. And I think it's a fantastic answer to Tapu Koko after using it myself. Though Assault Vest allows you to even take the Dazzling Game or any other move that, other than electrics, that you'll obviously be immune to. Any other move that Koko wants to go for, you'll take that very well due to the Assault Vest. And then on top of that, you do your ground types, you're immune to the electric stabs, so you can come in on a predicted electric type attack on one of your Pokemon, not take any damage, and then you can fire off a powerful EQ or high horsepower if you don't want to EQ into one of your own Pokemon, if you don't have a Levitator. And yeah, I love Mudsdale as an answer to Tapu Koko. It's really good against a lot of powerful special attackers that are weak to electric, weak to ground, but mainly that Tapu Koko. It deals with Tapu Koko extremely well, and really doesn't mind it. Just gotta be alert of Hell users, as Mudsdale really doesn't prefer those Hell users firing off really powerful blizzards. But really standard EV spread, just 252 on HP for bulk, as HP is also a really solid stat on Mudsdale, so investing in it makes sense. And then just 4 in special defense, so something to invest in defense to go along with that Assault Vest, and then full investment in attack with a Brave Nature, because you're already slow. So usually you'll use this Mudsdale usually on a Trick Room team, so that it's not always getting like double targeted into and stuff like that, and so that it can actually dish out some powerful attacks maybe before it gets hit with an attack. And yeah, just a really solid Pokemon. And Stamina, an ability that raises your defense every time, is also something that is a little bit nichey, and you can use it really well also. Moving right along though, we do get to Alolan Muck, which is another Pokemon that continues to have its presence in the VGC 17 format, and I feel like it will throughout the entirety of the format, considering that it is easily the best poison type. There's not many strong poison types in the format. A lot of people got excited for Salazzle when Pokebank came out because of the fact that it meant Salazzle gets Fake Out, but at the same time Salazzle just is not nearly as consistent and just provides as much as Alolan Muck provides for a team. A huge reason why Alolan Muck is so good is one, because of its typing, which allows it to come in on Tapu Lele's. If you can predict Tapu Lele's Psychic Z move coming off, or just a Psychic in general coming off, you can switch in on that, and there's close to nothing that can switch in on that. Is even switching in a Crocodile is really risky, considering that it's actually weak to Moonblast, or the fairy type stab, whatever it is that Lele's carries on its moveset. But Alolan Muck is not weak to that. It's actually neutral because of its poison typing. The only weakness it has is actually ground, I'm pretty sure. So that makes Alolan Muck really good. On top of it being a pretty bulky Pokemon with a 105 HP stat and a 100 special defense stat. But on top of that, it also gets the ability Gluttony, which is when this Pokemon has 1/2 or less of its maximum health, it uses certain berries early. And we did get a boost in a lot of these berries, and Figgy Berry is one of them. It restores half of the max HP once you're at 1/4 of your max HP or less. And it confuses if you're not an attack, if you're a minus attack nature, which obviously this isn't. It's an adamant nature, so it isn't minusing your attack. But what exactly that means is once you're at 1/4 or lower, you do eat the Figgy Berry and you get half your health back. But because of Gluttony, you're actually going to consume the berry once you're only at half, not at 1/4 of your original health. So this ensures that you always get to use your Figgy Berry in every single match, which makes this pretty much another Citrus Berry. So you can have your Citrus Berry on your Arcanine, and you can have the Figgy on your Alolan Muck, and you're pretty much good to take a really powerful hit and then still be at close to full health right after, which is really nice about Alolan Muck. And its offensive typing is really nice. Not a lot of things want to take a knockoff, but even less things want to take a poison jab, as we talked about the Tapus, they're all weak to poison and they really despise taking it. And I think it's a solid answer to Tapu Koko. It's not the best when it gets double targeted into, so usually have something else that's very threatening to your opponent's team next to Alolan Muck, because it does not want to be double targeted into. But it can still take that double target because of the Figgy Berry, which is what makes it so good. And the fact that it can actually get double targeted into. There's very few Pokemon that can take two of really powerful attacks. And Alolan Muck, like a Porygon 2, is one of those few Pokemon that can actually do that because of that Figgy Berry and Gluttony ability. And yeah, it's just offensive typing is so nice, and obviously a poison jab coming off of that attack stat towards a Tapu Koko. This exact set will 100% OHKO it. I've seen a lot more bulkier sets to just take attacks better, but then you miss out on the OHKO. So I decided the one that I would showcase for you guys would be one that certainly would not be missing out on any OHKOs on Tapu Koko due to that full investment in attack as well as an adamant nature. And yeah, this is Alolan Muck, just a solid Pokemon in the VGC 17 format, and definitely able to take on Tapu Koko. So these last two are going to be more so of checks. Even Alolan Muck's more so of a check. I think the first three are like pretty much counters, as Tapu Koko almost can't do anything to those. Or pretty much can't do anything, especially like Alolan Marowak. It absolutely can't do anything to that. And Garchomp, it'll outspeed an EQ, and then Mudsdale, it's not taking almost anything from a Dazzling Gleam, and then it'll fire back really strong. Muck actually will take a decent, especially if electric terrain is up, it'll take a decent amount of damage from a Thunderbolt. But then it'll be able to fire back, and like I said, it can be doubled into, so it kind of still is a counter, but not as much as those first three. But these last two will definitely both be more checks to Tapu Koko, not as much as straight up counters. And by checks, I just mean something that in the right scenario still takes it on really well, but if it's really threatened by, it can really be threatened by another Pokemon, and sometimes things just don't go as well as they possibly could with these Pokemon taking out Koko. But I do still think they're really solid answers. And the first is going to be Gastrodon, and this Gastrodon is actually running Sludge Bomb, which is why I decided to put it on here. This is going to be another person, Sejun Parks. Almost forgot his name too. This is going to be the Gastrodon that Sejun Park was running on a team that he recently used, and he decided to forego using Recover and just went for all offensive moves with Sludge Bomb. Either way, Gastrodon's really bulky, especially with a Citrus Berry, so it can definitely take a few hits if necessary. And Tapu Koko really can't damage it. It's obviously immune to its electric stats because of its secondary typing in ground, and it also is it doesn't take much damage from a Dazzling Gleam at all. It's only weak to Grass, which is really nice, as Grass is a very uncommon typing in the VGC 17 meta. The only Pokemon that are honestly really used that are Grass types are Lilligant and Bulu. both of which are falling in usage, so not bad at all. And with Sludge Bomb, it provides you like a better answer to definitely take it. Well, with the investment and everything in special attack, you'll definitely OHKO Tapu Koko, and it really can't do much to you. So this is another solid option for teams that are weak to Tapu Koko and kind of need an answer, but they don't want any of these Pokemon that are right here. You already got kind of an ice weakness, and so you don't really want to use Garchomp or Mudsdale, or you already have a ground weakness and you really don't want to use a Alolan Muck or Marowak. So you can always opt for a Gastrodon, which is immune to both ice and, well, not immune, it's neutral to both ice and ground, and it can fire back a very powerful Sludge Bomb on those fairy types, mainly that Tapu Koko, and take it out. So this is another option, and I don't know the exact benchmarks or anything that the EV spread does, but I do know that with this investment in special attack, you'll definitely OHKO Gastrodon, so another Pokemon you can try out. And last but not least, we have Nihilego as the last Pokemon that takes on Tapu Koko really well. And the only reason Nihilego is a little bit higher is because of the fact that it is slower than Tapu Koko, and it's not immune to its electric or its fairy type attacks. It will take that damage, but it does have a 131 special defense stat, so it'll actually take, even in electric terrain, it actually takes the Thunderbolt pretty well. And it will obviously dish back an extremely powerful Sludge Bomb and definitely take out Tapu Koko, as well as give it that beast boost. So Nihilego, if supported correctly, can be extremely threatening to a team, and it can take on Tapu Koko well because of the fact that it has a huge special defense stat, and it has that poison typing, and it gets that stab Sludge Bomb off of a 127 special attack stat. That is ridiculous, so that's going to do huge damage and will definitely take out Tapu Koko. So that's pretty much it. We have Nihilego, Gastrodon, Muck, Mudsdale, Marowak, and Garchomp as our Tapu Koko counters / checks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in into today's episode of Stop That Mon. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comment section below what Pokemon you'd want me to do next. Any popular Pokemon that's starting to rise, or anything that's giving you lots of troubles. Have been considering Snorlax, because that's one of my most dreaded Pokemon in this format. And I've also have been considering Alolan Ninetales. That's another Pokemon I really dread. It's Aurora Veil. People are realizing how good Aurora Veil is, and they're using it a lot. So let me know what Pokemon you guys would like to see. This is a series for the people, and I'm here for you guys. So let me know what you guys want to see, and let me know also about that face cam, if you think I should provide face cam or not for this series. It's up to you guys. I'm gonna get the heck out of here though. Thank you guys so much. You have a wonderful day. See you in the next episode of Stop That Mon.